What is going on? A sad all UK ball and heavy pour sports, but we got some Tennessee fans here to, I'm sure, bring us some joy as they troll that loss to Louisville. We'll get to it. T, you had some fun on Twitter on Tuesday.
I don't even remember what happened. What happened? Oh, just making fun of y'all.
Yep. You were in the chat. We had some Tennessee fans join the chat. Some Cardinal fans jump in and enjoy the chat. Cardinals fans are obviously very PG in some of their statements, but you have an angelic glow about you, T. That light in the background. It's very nice. Oh man, well, we'll get to
nice hotel room. Nice hotel room down here in Lowe.
Nice. Where are you at?
I'm in Las Cruces.
The Four Seasons?
Cool. Oh no, just home 2 suites. It's not that nice. I was just saying that. But we're playing New Mexico State this weekend, and Las Cruces is where New Mexico State is. So I had to make sure that I wore my orange while I was down here. These folks don't care. Like, not one person said anything to me.
Yeah.
So they unless they're playing the University of New Mexico, they don't care.
New Mexico State, that's where old Pavia came from, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So you can beat New Mexico State and Pavia here in was it not consecutive weeks? You got Florida in between there, but
yeah. Hello?
Oh, dang. Hammer, I wasn't ignoring anybody. I didn't realize you were in there.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, sure.
How you doing, buddy? I saw your show was on today. And so I appreciate you jumping on here too. Busy night for you. How was the betting weekend?
We'll start from the beginning.
It was good. So hang on, I'll give you official numbers because I don't want to get called out because I misspeak. Official plays I gave out went 7-3, went 17-4 total on the weekend. So,
and you, I believe, took the minus 2.5, 3.5 for Louisville before it jumped up.
Yes.
I mean, either one would have got you there. I thought the under. We talked before. I thought the under was there because that vaunted Kentucky defense that had showed up in the previous two games, and that was a miss for sure.
Yeah, well, the same for Louisville. I mean, they were maybe not touted for elite defense, but certainly good defense and especially perimeter defense. And they played very physical, which we saw. You and I kind of talked offline, and I'd said I felt like rebounds and turnovers would kind of decide that game. And while Kentucky did, I think, get 3 more rebounds total than Louisville, the difference was the turnovers. Kentucky
exactly
was
right.
Oh yeah. And
Louisville only was 6. So, those turnovers turn into points. So that's, but man, both teams were bleeding points. So yeah, that took me a little bit by surprise. I didn't expect it to be that high scoring. So.
Well, we'll just go ahead and jump into it, rip the Band-Aid off. Selena, we watched it together live. It was pretty depressing. Most of it, there were 6 lead changes, I think, in the first 8 minutes or so, and then
we didn't lead again.
Very quickly, Louisville started spreading that thing out. We got it back within single digits before halftime, and we talked on the live show that it was the Pope halftime adjustments that we had faith in, right? We've got down big before, and he's made some adjustments. We've come back. We played better in the second half. And even if we didn't get the win, look at Ole Miss last year. at least got it close, and we saw some life in the second half. Instead, what we got was an extended lead, and that first 10 minutes of the second half was just a shell of what we expected this Kentucky team to be. What do you think was the product of that? Was it this distraction Pope was talking about pregame? Was it PK just had Pope's number, played once before, knew what was going to come this way, and was able to counter Pope's counter? Or do you think that Louisville just downright a better team than us?
I don't think they're a better team. We had a lot of stretches where we had zero effort on the court. Defense we were lost in space. We couldn't make a shot to save our life at some point. There's no offense being ran, a lot of one-on-ones, me ball. And that was obviously a problem too. So I don't think we had a lot of assists either, because it was just one-on-one, a lot of Zell doing stuff in the paint. I will say that, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but as soon as we started coming back, Louisville started cracking. They started getting turnovers, a lot of turnovers, missing shots, making mistakes. So I think the thing that should tell their fans they're not foolproof either. Like, we put pressure on them, and they started showing the cracks in their gameplay. But if we would have had effort,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. If we would have had effort like we did in like the last 10 minutes, we would have won that game by 10 and 15 points, I think. We just didn't play half the game.
The last 10 minutes showed me was the two teams aren't very different. When J-Lo wasn't in there running point, the offense was stagnant at times. Zell was playing a lot of hero ball. Now he went 10 for 20 and was the high scorer on the team. He had 26. He might have been game high, 26 or 28 points. So he played well, but he seemed to take a lot on his shoulders. When the only thing that slowed Mikel Brown down was Mikel Brown himself. His conditioning, him cramping up, was the only thing that slowed him down. We sure as hell weren't playing defense on him to slow him down. When he started cramping up and he wasn't the same, is when we made our run. So it tells me is the Cardinals got to find someone who could run their offense or be a go-to scorer. Conwell did well, but when he was doing well was when Mikel was on the floor and all the attention was on Mikel and Conwell was getting open shots. So they got to, Louisville's got to figure that out. I think Pat Kelsey showed that he can coach a basketball team. And he showed some of that last year, but I don't like him. That nerd should be stuffed in a locker, but he can coach a basketball team, and he was able to. This is why in the Cal days we loved having 5-star freshmen. We hated it at times because the inexperience showed up. This is why we loved having them, because they can single-handedly take over a game, and that's what Mikel did. And Pope never was able to figure out how.
Show up.
Yeah, and Pope was not able to figure out who to put on him to slow him down. There was never a trap. There was never, a double team to try to get the ball out of his hands and make someone else beat you. The end of the first half where he dribbled the ball for 15 seconds and then J-Lo came up on him and he took him to his left side, his weak side, and got to the cup with ease, right? And everybody else just kind of spread out, followed their manners. There was no even second thought of let's try to get the ball out of this kid's hands. The playing of Brandon Garrison to a level of we're going to make him be good at basketball, I don't quite understand.
Well, he got his cardio in.
So. Yeah. That's about all he got in.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know. He's got the talent and he's got the God-given ability. So you hope he figures it out, but you do wonder what was worked on all offseason. I hate to really tear a young man up, but we fought other teams to keep you to get you out of the transfer portal, come back to Kentucky because of what we thought you could be, what Pope thought you could be. We needed somebody to replace Amari Williams. He's a defensive liability. And especially in the pick and roll, the high pick and roll, and they did it over and over and over again. And I'm like, you had a weakness. Let's identify that weakness. Let's work on it all offseason. It doesn't seem like he's improved his game at all. He's not more physical.
You can work on stuff. You can work on stuff all day long, but if he doesn't apply it in the middle of the game, if he doesn't apply what he's worked on, then there's no point. Like, that's the thing. Like you said, like, he has the talent and the athleticism to be really, really good. Like, he has the pieces. But if he's not mentally applying it how he needs to apply, it's not gonna make a difference. It's not gonna matter. Like, it's not. The only thing I will say this: he can run the floor. He had a fast break like trail run the floor that was beautiful. Otherwise, he looked lost and lost the entire game. He's on defense. He got caught in really terrible out of position spots the entire game. Like, it was just, I don't know.
And we said this live. Brandon Garrison can't be the dude who relies on his offense to get the rest of his team going, right? And the rest of himself going. The offense is not going to run through him. It's just not, right? He's not the dude who can bring the ball down the floor. And Amari Williams, he's not the same passer. He doesn't see the floor well. He needs to be able to spread the floor out as a stretch five, potentially, if he can show he can make that shot. And he's got to let the offensive game come to him. He needs to play defense, block shots, be a presence in the post, and then, like you just said, run the floor, get easy buckets. And that's how you get yourself going, right? Be someone that other teams can't play in transition. Be a big body on the block, and work on your footwork, and be someone that we can just, when we need a bucket, we go to down low because you're just bigger than most other people you're going to play. We got to figure that out, and I think what you got to do is start playing Malachi Moreno more. And my last gripe on the game and the front court, which I thought was going to be our advantage, was never once did we see a transition to small ball and putting Mo D at the 5 and Yelovich at the 4 and see if we could just spread them out and be more athletic than them. Because while Mikal Brown was the superior athlete on the floor for everybody, I think across the board as a team, we are more athletic, we are faster, and could have gotten them out of rhythm a bit that way.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think Moreno needs to start next game. His feel for the game looks better as a freshman overall. You know what I mean? Like, he just feels like he's more comfortable on the court. He finds some better spots than BG does.
He looks stronger out there. His motor, it seems like there's more hustle in him, right? And you're right, the game just seems to come more naturally to him. Like, he can feel out his spots, even as a younger, true freshman. How much of the game did y'all watch as Tennessee fans hate watching Kentucky? What is your analysis of the
T watched the whole thing?
Yeah, which I suspected, and I would have done the same thing. So I can't hate on it. But what was your perspective of the coaching, the Pope versus PK, the players? How, as non-biased as you can, how should Kentucky fans feel? Both these teams are Final Four potential, and you just lost a tight game on the road against a top-ranked opponent, or hey, the Cats are in trouble because they can't play defense and they can't figure out the rotation.
Go ahead, T. No.
You can say it's good. Safe place. I've got my emotions out already.
Well, that's not true. I mean, you're clearly still in shambles right now.
Not shambles. Okay. I'm upset, but I'm not in shambles.
I understand. I don't have an analysis for, like, if it's all over or whatever. This is the third game of the season. So, like, where's your trust? Everybody, y'all all anoint Pope, right? So give him some time to let the team mesh. That's where I'm at with Tennessee. Like, I'm not freaking out one way or the other with Tennessee, because it's, we're 3 games in. They're going to need some time to mesh. You guys are a new team all over again, right? So a collection of talent and skilled players and all that doesn't. We see it with the dream team. It doesn't mean anything when you go over there and you play Germany or Italy or whoever plays together for 10 years, even though we clearly have more talent. I'm not saying I think you guys have more talent, but we know you got highly rated dudes and all that kind of stuff. I would give them some time. I mean, I know y'all could freak out, but like give them some time to kind of get it together. I think that's where it kind of stinks that game happened so early. Like you want to see peak Louisville versus peak Kentucky, like once they've had time to gel and had to mesh. Now it's great for us as basketball fans to see a good rivalry, and everybody wants to see Kentucky lose besides Kentucky fans. But from like a purist perspective, to see good on good, give them some time to peak and all that kind of stuff. So I can't really tell you what I think needs to happen for y'all to like fix it, but I wouldn't pop Red Star clusters just yet. Like, let them get some time to gel first and let Pope figure out his rotations, as some of y'all have kind of been mentioning. And once that gets going, probably by SEC play, then you'll really know what you got. Y'all don't got to pot the Red Star clusters just yet.
Yeah, and the lineup and the rotations is going to take a massive shift once JQ gets healthy as well. So, we got to hope that he's as special as advertised. And what we saw in minimal work at Arizona State last year is he is everything defensively that you want him to be. If he can get his offense going as well, if he can get fully recovered from the knee and still have that same spring, which I think he should. He's young and ACLs aren't as detrimental as they used to be. So I think he's going to be okay. But Hammer, what did you see in that game?
Well, one of the things that kind of stuck out is I kept waiting for Owe to kind of get going and make his presence felt, and he just really didn't. I mean, in fact, he was more of a liability in that game than he was a help with 4 of 13 shooting and 5 turnovers.
Yep.
And I think he fouled out in that game as well. But Aberdeen, man, what a show he put on. That guy really, that would have been a lot uglier if he had not been as clutch as he was. But
yeah,
I know, even before, Pope showed up, his entire offense is works through his guards, right? I mean, really, outside of Aberdeen, everybody else was struggled, even Lowe. And I mean, I know that's not something that you clearly aware of. 2 of 8 shooting, but outside of Aberdeen, I mean, nobody in the backcourt played well at all. And then when you don't work the ball inside, I think just looking, just looking at field goals, like Moreno was 3 of 3. Garrison was 1 of 2. Yelovich was 3 of 3, and then Modi was 3 of 6. So I felt like if they worked the ball inside more and maybe tried to slow the pace down a little bit, they might have had more success earlier on. And then they sort of got behind the 8 ball and they just had to start shooting. And unfortunately, well, I mean, it wasn't a horrible shooting night, but it wasn't good enough, obviously, to bail them out. When, again, you turn the ball over 14 times, it's tough to win no matter who you play. So, but I think
that was the killer.
Yeah, it really was, man. It really was. But I think T hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's early. These guys are still learning to play together, knowing where each other is going to be on the floor, the switches, which way they're going to make their cuts. I mean, there's just a lot of things that take some time. And, again, you're playing an opponent of that caliber this early, which, I mean, it's a level playing field because Louisville's the same boat Kentucky was in that regard. But it just, it's a tough environment. And I think it was just one of those situations where Kentucky just got out physicaled in a lot of areas, and Louisville's ball pressure was pretty good all night. They didn't give up too many open looks, and again, when your guards are shooting under 50%, it's tough.
Yeah, I will say
hold on.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, Rando, and then I'll give it back to you. One thing that I've been seeing from Kentucky, and you guys know who in particular, they're like Kentucky played a D level game, C- level game, and Louisville played an A game, but all the shooting percentages actually leaned in Kentucky's favor. So I don't think that's an honest analysis. I think that's a co-analysis. Just to like feel better about it. So it probably felt like Louisville was shooting out because their volume was so high. But their percentage was actually worse than y'all's percentage. So that there is something wrong with that, where you outshoot them from free throw, from field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage, and still lose. Like that's something that you got to figure out. And so to me, the defense isn't as bad as y'all are feeling like it is. I'm not saying that it's stellar, and obviously the freshman from Louisville was doing whatever he wanted. But to me, that points more to offensive issues than defensive ones. Like they shot 32% from three. That's not a good night, and they shot 45% from the field. So they scored a million.
If you just
their volume was high. That's why.
Yeah, if you just looked at the box score, team stats, it's very similar to the conversation we were having. Not as widespread, the conversation we had after the Kentucky-Texas football game. It's like, how do you lose that game? And you can, you go to one stat, and for both games, it was turnovers, right? They had more possessions. They were able to, you had yardage, but you couldn't score, whether it was fourth down conversions in that Texas game or for this one, we're just giving the ball away. And, like Pope said, he was pretty honest at the post game. I think it was 14 turnovers, 14 assists, and they had 24 and 6, I believe. Like that is right there. So you could shoot great. And, but if you can't protect the ball and you give them extra possessions for a team who wants to play fast and already generate extra possessions just through pace of play, they get more cracks at it. And then, I will say that we dropped 88 points. It's a pretty good score on the road in that environment, especially when we start off shooting so poorly. But the C-D grade that I would give is, like was in the chat, which is, defensively. We went out and got dudes who were supposed to be very physical. They were athletic. We weren't going to get beat through, the physicality or the toughness of the game anymore, because we kind of got punked in some places last year, where we just got out physical. We were supposed to have corrected that. And like Hammer said, the dude who was supposed to be the guy to set the tempo for the team is Otega Oweh. And the first two games, he sleptwalked to averaging like 15 points a game, didn't even break a sweat. And there were some folks who said like he feels disinterested, he's disengaged. We're not seeing the same Otega Oweh we saw last year. And my thought was like, he hasn't played. He hasn't had to get up and play a game. Like, he's going to get up for a Louisville game. He was there last year. He remembers the environment. Kayshawn Pryor is sitting there talking all this junk. The opening video for the Louisville Kentucky game was him talking, and then in the media he was like, "Hey, I can't wait to see these people." Right? So you're like, "All right, he's 100% going to get up for this game," and he didn't. Like, it was just, there were times where you saw him flash, but that was maybe 30% of the basketball game. The rest of it was either stupid tic-tac fouls that Pope could even try to put him on Mikal Brown because he had 3 fouls early. And by the end of the game, when he started making some shots, he got to the rim, he had a breakaway dunk off a steal. It was just too little too late. So something in him's got to click, right? He got paid this offseason. but he got paid like $2 million-ish, I think, maybe a little bit more, maybe for somewhere in the ballpark, whatever you believe, right? So he got a bunch of money, but that's not generational money. That's not like I'm taking care of my family for decades and decades money, like he would get in the NBA if he increases his draft stock, which is why he came back to Kentucky to play for Pope. So, like, let's not just accept I made it for 1 year. Now I am paid. Let's step this thing up and be like, I'm going to go get my families and their family paid by the effort because I'm playing on a massive stage at the University of Kentucky, and I can go find myself being a potential back-end first-round draft pick if I show that I am the same Otega Oweh last year with a little bit better of a jump shot, right? But if that he's got to be the wheel that gets this thing going. Like, he's got to be the leader of this team. That's what he got brought back here for. Jackson Robinson was the dude who came from BYU to play for Pope, and like, hey, I speak Pope, right? I can talk the language. This is what he's wanting. I'm going to be the leader of this team. Otega Oweh's got to be that dude to come back. And if he's not, I am nervous about what this looks like in the future. We have Denzel Aberdeen for sure. We have Mo Diabata, who I think can be a presence once he kind of gets his feel out of the game. And we have other pieces. Colin Chandler stepped up massive. We have dudes who have played in the SEC and are highly talented. But this thing is going to be successful if we get SEC Player of the Year nominee Otega Oweh, and not just some dude who Pope saw potential at Oklahoma, right?
Well, he couldn't throw it in the ocean standing in a boat the other night.
And that's not really his game. I think he has to acknowledge that too. Is like his ability to get downhill and make tough contested buckets at the rim and be that guy. And then if you got an open shot in the corner, you got to take that for sure. But heck, if they lay off you and you can get downhill and do what he did last year and just dunk on somebody's head and get us back in the game that way and get the crowd in it that way, let's do that too. Like, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know yourself, and seek self-improvement, right? To do the thing and make the team better.
Yeah.
But hey, that's
know yourself and seek self-improvement is a Marine Corps leadership principle. That's why we laughed at that. Used to get drilled in our in our heads.
Yeah.
I think he's focusing too hard on what the scout said this summer.
Yeah.
He's trying to do pull-up three-pointers. It's not his game. He's shooting way more than he needs to shoot. He's not aggressive like he was either on any aspect. He's not even aggressive anymore on defense either. He's just there. Like, he's just there.
I think that's a good point though, Selena. Like, shooting more than, because you should work on that in the offseason, right? So put the work in, go ahead and earn the right to toss up one or two, but that's still not your strength. So don't shoot them more than you need to. Like you said, go ahead and get your 1-2 up, but then get to what your strength is. And that's being athletic / and being strong and that kind of stuff. So yeah, just don't get out over your skis, toss a couple up, but then do what you do. Yeah, like Richie said, take it to the rack.
Yeah, that's his game, right? It'll open things up for everybody else. But the positives, I will say, and I don't understand this argument from Cardinals fans. You won, you should troll BB, and you should do it, right? I don't disagree with all of Cardinals Twitter clowning Kentucky right now. They finally got a win. They feel like they're back. I would have done the same thing. I had bookmarks just like they did, right? So I was ready to just sit it out just like they did. So I don't have any problem with them doing it. But my argument on the positive side was, as terrible as that game felt as a fan watching it, and we felt like we were getting beat down most of that game, with like 3:20 to go, J-Lo's at the foul line to put this game within 2 points, right? He makes the front of that one. I mean, we missed 2 front ends of the 1-and-1. He makes a free throw, just one, and brings it within 3. That's a different ball game. He misses the free throw. They go back down and score immediately. Now it's Now it's a 8-point game, I believe, and it just kind of spiraled from there. And Louisville fans were like, well, we missed 7 straight free throws. It's like, well, I could say we missed 6 straight threes, and that's why we didn't win. Like, you still got to put the ball in the hoop. I don't care if you miss free throws or not. You got to put the ball in the hoop. But I do feel like we can look at that game. If we take a step back and don't panic like we are known to do, take a step back and go, hey, at the end of the day, we were right there against the number 11, 12 team in the country on the road with the chance to win after turning the ball over 14 times and watching some of our key players look like they were still, back in the locker room waiting for the game to actually like tip off mentally. So you asked at the beginning, T, do we still have faith in Pope? We anointed Pope as like the next guy. I do believe in that. And I think he's the right guy for the job just because I think he cares. He might care a little bit too much, to be honest. And maybe that's, I think that might be that gets to him at sometimes. And we'll talk about that with the J-Lo injury here in a minute. But I think he's going to figure it out. And him figuring out, one, is the rotation, understanding who he can play, and two, we can't keep getting in double-digit large deficits against these top teams. Duke, Gonzaga, like we can't do it. Like those were miracle comebacks. And I understand, like I like that as part of my team. Mentally, they know, hey, if we do get down, we can come back. We've done it before. But you can't come to the game and going like, if we get down, we can come back. No, it's like come out there ready to step on a dude's neck and and take him out early. That's what I want to see. I want to see that killer instinct from these teams. I want to see the money be well spent and get dudes who have been to national championships, Final Fours. Like these are the guys we're bringing into the program. So let's see that on the court consistently and not just sporadically. That's going to be when Kentucky is legit contender to chase 9.
Your rotations matter, but you got to know your spots and your personnel as well, because there will be different times where different situations call for different rotations. So different substitutions. So get your rhythm for what is kind of like your normal rotation, but then he's got to understand his guys too. Hammer and I were talking about it earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't remember. But we, Jalen Carey transferred over from Vanderbilt, right? And he gave both Kentucky and Tennessee fits last year, I think. And he's barely touching the floor so far. But where I think he's really going to matter is when we get into SEC play, because he's going to bring a level of physicality that other people can't bring. And so that's going to be on Barnes to know when to put him in, when typically he would be putting in Estrella or putting in whoever this other big dude is. I don't even know, and I haven't got to watch the game yet. But so that all comes into being a good coach too. Like have your normal rotation, but then know the guys that you need to plug and play when they fit for the situation as well.
Yeah, and there's also got to be, and you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but you brought this dude in from Vandy. He's expected to be something. You don't know how practice is going. Rick Barnes might, hey, we brought this guy from Vandy, paid him some money, but he just ain't fitting, so he's not playing. You have to own that sometimes. Sometimes we misjudge that the dude for our system, and maybe that's what we're seeing right now with Brandon Garrison. Like, Hammer said that the offense run through the guards. If you watched last year, it really runs through the big man. It was the same way at BYU with Ali.
It ran through Amari Williams last year. Yeah,
so like that 0.4 point center is very, really important for Kentucky, especially without a true point guard. Like when Lamont went down, you got to have that center at the top of the key who can see and make passes and put your guards into advantageous situations. And Garrison just isn't that guy yet. I equated it to like going from a mid-major to SEC ball or college ball to pros, where it's just like in college ball, it can get open and then you throw the ball, right? Like in the pros, you got to see it before it happens. Garrison is like just a tick slow. he sees it and then makes the pass, right? He sees the play happen and then goes, but he can't predict it. He can't, this is getting ready to open up based off what's happening, and the pass is coming out as the player is getting open or on the cut. It's always just a little bit off, and by that time the defense can make rotation. He causes turnovers. He just doesn't see the floor as well. So you're going to need a big man to do that. I agree with Richie. Yelovich needs to get more minutes. When we made the run in the first half, it was because Yelovich was in the game. And I'll keep harping on it. I'll beat this drum. If we're going to play a traditional big man in the paint, a true center, that dude is Malachi Marino right now. You just have to own it and say, hey, we gave Brandon Garrison whatever we did to bring him back from the portal and push off Heisman away other schools. But Malachi Marino is the dude who can get it figured out right now. He is the better player, so he's going to get the more minutes, at least until JQ gets back. So, to Rick Barnes' credit, I think he's got the personality and that intestinal fortitude to make that decision, right? Now, if it was going on with Nate Ament, would he make the same thing because that was your $4 million purchase? Like, if he wasn't playing, would he try to force him in? I don't know. But a guy who's a rotation piece, if he ain't cutting the mustard, it's like, hopefully you figure it out at some point. I can use it throughout the season, but right now you ain't getting done. So you're going to sit there with your rear on the bench and watch these dudes who got it figured out play.
Well, that and Kerry got in foul trouble. So
I just went on that whole rant for no reason.
That was good though.
It sounded good for a second.
It sounded good.
Kerry played 9 minutes. He got 6 points and 6 rebounds, but he picked up 3 fouls. And we're just very deep in the front court. Getting Estrella back is huge. Okpara was he was having a block party out there, and then Cade Phillips. So, and then we added Dwayne Brown, who probably picked up a good bit of Kerry's minutes because of the foul trouble. So I think he's gonna. I think he'll fit. He's kind of the Euros Plavsic type enforcer, I think, because of his size and just the physical nature of the way he plays. Because he was a handful, man, for us last year at Peabody. So I think he's got a place and a fit. I think him and Phillips on the floor together would be trouble because both those guys are very aggressive. But man, having JP Estrella back, that's huge. He was the leading scorer, had 10 boards, and man, what a lift that is. If we'd had him last year, I think we may have had a better shot. I don't know if we'd have beat Houston, but I think we'd had a better shot.
Yeah,
but I tell you, my guy,
Brando and I were talking about that because he was, upset when we beat them because Butler was hurt and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, injuries go both ways.
Yep.
And now we didn't have Estrella like all year, but that hurt us all year. So I just realized I cut you off.
No, you cut me off. I was just saying, I know all the talk about a man, and it's warranted, but Jacoby Gillespie, man, that's my dude.
And then Richie, it's rumored at like $4 million, but it's not just Tennessee giving him $4 million. That's like his rebuttal and his Seat Geek deal or whatever his other deals are. But a lot of it is coming from his deal with Reebok, not just straight from Tennessee. And Estrella is another one of our big men. And he was with us last year, and he was playing well at the very beginning of the season, and then ended up like with foot, or I don't remember what his injury was, but basically missed almost the entire season after giving us just enough glimpse of how good he was.
Yeah, he got hurt in the third game. So it was, I think, an ankle. He had to have surgery, everything. He was out for the season. So that was a blow, and it never got off the ground. But Okpara and Phillips played really well in his absence, but you can clearly see Estrella he's on another level.
I can also clearly see that Richie is in his feelings, right? So
he's just speaking facts. We got to see it to believe. We don't know who this guy is.
that's it.
We'll see. Hey, if he's a bully though, yeah, let's wait. I'm glad we will potentially get. Well, we should have JQ back by then. I'm very disappointed in our front court after watching dudes like Ali Khalifa and Frew do what they did, and not even super impressive. Just outplayed our guys, unfortunately. Well, before I want to get Selena's take on some of the things that Pope said today, but we're already in Tennessee basketball, so you don't really have a lot of competition in the next 2 games, but then you're rolling right into Houston. From what you've seen so far, as a guy who honestly has watched 0 minutes of Tennessee basketball, I can't even I can't even talk any junk about how you can or can't beat Houston. But how do you feel about that Elite Eight rematch that's coming up here in a couple games?
That's you, Hammer. I haven't been able to watch this yet.
Well, much as we discussed with Kentucky and everybody getting to know everybody, there was some glaring evidence at times during the North Florida game where we had we had 14 turnovers in that game as well. Just North Florida didn't have the horses to really take advantage of it. But there were some passes to some ghost players because the guard anticipated movement one way and the other player moved the other. Like, just some of that stuff that, growing pains, I called it. That's not going to play very well against Houston. So right now, honestly, I mean, if I had to tell you who I would pick to win that game, it would be Houston. So it's not to say that this team won't be there by league play and certainly at the end of the year, but early on, there's some new faces and some kinks that are going to have to get worked out for this team to go play to its potential, because the talent's definitely there, and Coach Barnes has breathed life back into that program after Bruce Pearl left. It's been rough. So, but yeah, I'm not very optimistic, Rando, about how we match up with Houston. That's going to be tough for anybody, but especially a team that's basically got 4 new starters on it.
I'm not either, but I'm glad we got the game on the schedule, and we talked about it. Like, go ahead and I give credit to Black for mentioning this last year with Louisville, because they were pretty heavily front loaded last year. Like, go ahead and test yourself early on, and dissimilar to football, you can afford a couple losses and still make the postseason and all that. And it's really just a way to refine yourself and get yourself better. So I don't know that I have high hopes for this either. I mean, Houston's a legitimate national champion contender, but I'm glad we're playing this game, and I'm glad we're playing it early. So, I'm excited to see how we look. I don't even know that I would say cautiously optimistic. I think I expect Houston to win, but I would just like to see some growth with us, some togetherness. Don't be scared. Go out there, play hard, that kind of stuff. Some of the intangible stuff, and we'll get the timing and the tangible stuff down as the season progresses. But I'm glad we're playing the game.
Yeah, I am too. And with it being a neutral site game, that it takes any. Thank God it's not in Houston. Let's put it that way. Lord. But yeah, it's.
I will be watching that game intently, and I said this previously, so I'll just be on repeat. Win or loss, I want to see how Nate Ament plays against grown men that Houston's going to bring at him, right?
Man, those dudes last year, they looked like they were 35, twice divorced, and poured concrete for a living.
Yeah, they were hardened for sure, man. And that's just what the Houston team's going to be. They are built similar to Rick Barnes teams, right? You're going to be tough, physical, defense first, and the scoring will come. But unfortunately for you, your key leaders you could rely on are no longer there. So Now you got to see how Gillespie and Nate Mint, those guys. That's gonna. After my rant that just went on, that is a carry game for sure. Like if there's ever a game where carry's got to be a big presence, that's that game. So, but yeah, if Nate Mint can do it, he has been doing it against this lesser competition at Houston. 15, 18 points, 8, 10 rebounds, plus whatever, and just seem like he is ready for that environment. Then I will say it's money well spent, and that can be a dude you can lean on heavily as you get in SEC play, tournament play, yada, yada. All right. So transitioning back to Kentucky, we got some freaking terrible news today. On top of whatever happened pregame in Louisville at the shoot-around and before shoot-around that supposedly distracted the team. Pope talked about that today. I don't know what that's going to be or what that was. I know it seems silly. Like, was it a distraction? Did it affect the effort on the court? It sure seemed like it did. Now, maybe, again, we just weren't ever going to be ready. Who knows? But how that's happening with this experienced team, right? We are new together, but we've got a lot of basketball experience. I don't know. Who knows what that actually is? Pope said we'll find out at some point, so we shall see. But the other news today was Jaland Lowe injured at practice, I guess beating and banging down low with Mo Diabata. And this time it appears that he had fully dislocated the shoulder. Pilgrim reporting that staff had to pop it back in. I imagine that means he's going to be out for an extended period of time, re-injured the subluxation shoulder. You dislocate it, something probably going to be torn. Labral tear, rotator cuff, maybe both. And if that's the case, he has a surgery.
Have to labor more than anything else.
Yeah. If he has surgery, imagine we don't see him for the rest of the season. How do you think that affects us, Selena? And then for the group, I'll put it out there, and I understand it's going to make me sound soft. I don't even know it's the right answer. I'm coming from, a culture of pain retains, right? Like you mess up, pain retains, right? So I understand the reason why after a tough loss and you don't show up or you have a pre-game incident where you got to instill some discipline back into your team, why you might beat them up a little bit. But after the Ole Miss game, when we got embarrassed, Pope had this tough practice. It resulted in Jackson Robinson getting, falling down, tearing up his wrist. We saw him in one other game, and he was out for the season. After the loss here, another quote-unquote tough, hard practice, J-Lo gets a re-injured shoulder, jacked up, and we might not see him again. There's a fine line, I think, between tough, physical, reinstilling discipline, and reckless. I'm curious on what y'all's take is. Am I way off, or does there need to be some reassessment on how we instill some discipline, how we toughen the boys up when you got millions and millions of dollars invested into a team and there's only one J-Lo on this squad?
So Robinson last year was hurt because he ran into a player. I don't think that has anything to do with the practice. They just ran into each other on the court while they were practicing. Today, he was just boxing out Mo D. He was just doing what he's supposed to do as a basketball player, right? So, like, as somebody who played for a stupid amount of years and who's had practices like that, they are absolutely necessary. They are. Sometimes you have to get to your dude's heads that way and make them play how you want them to play. Because here's the thing too, who's to say Jaland Lowe wouldn't have hurt their shoulder on the next game boxing somebody out?
Agreed. And
you're going to get
already
hurt,
injured before,
right? Like he was already injured. It's basketball. It happens. I don't like. We had these injuries. Like Cal talks about parts all the time. I mean, that happened all the time with Cal too. People got busted lips. AP tore his ACL in practice one time. I mean, it's basketball. Injuries happen, and it sucks, unfortunately. Now, I am curious why we have somebody that on shoulder injuries to our point guards. That's kind of crazy. And maybe that's like a training thing as far as training your shoulder joint, your muscles and stuff correctly for proper support. I don't know. But I don't think you soften up practice because that's not doing it good because games are going to be harder than practice in the SEC. We know this. Like SEC games are tougher than practice is ever going to be because other teams do not care. So if you go soft in practice, you're going to get wrecked in SEC games.
Yeah, I don't mean going soft in practice, but if you remember the press conference last year when we found out Jackson Robinson got hurt, Pope said it himself, like after the Ole Miss game, we had a tough, physical, spirited practice. Like I'm pretty sure those are the exact words that he used. It's something to that extent of like, hey, we were getting back to like the grind. Like I was implementing the Georgia Bulldog Blood Tuesday, like when we need to wake ourselves up, right? This was a tough physical practice. And I get it's necessary, 100%. I lean more towards what you're saying. To be fair, I got me thinking of like middle of season type thing. Like, we saw someone posted the clip. I think Coach Ryan posted the clip of Rick Pitino talking to his team last year at St. John's, and he was just verbally abusing this team about where's your effing toughness? Like you guys aren't playing. Like he's like, I question why I even recruited any of you guys here. Mm-hmm. That gets into my feelings a little bit too, and I'm sure his practice were good. My concern is just like we're not in the room. Yes, those tough practices got to happen, but at some point we gotta protect the assets too, right? Especially a dude who's already injured, and like I said, that re-injury was high risk, and I don't think the reward is great enough to start doing that in a practice after the third game of the season when we maybe didn't show up like Pope was expecting us to. I see T shaking his head. I think he agrees with Selena.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, that game was not acceptable, right? So either you have a tough practice or you run the entire practice. Those are your only options, I think, at that point, right? So if you're not going to put effort into the game, then I'm going to get the effort out of you somehow as a coach perspective, right? Like talking to them nicely is not working, right? We don't need Pope breaking any more chairs, punching holes in chairs in a locker room like he did Ole Miss. So I mean, some point as a coach, he has got to get the players where they need to be, right? And tough practices, and yeah, it sucks to start early in the season. It really does. But again, they were not ready for that game. They were not mentally ready for the game whatsoever. And again, Jaland Lowe could be on next game and hurt shoulder anyways because he doesn't slow down. He doesn't baby it. He was all over the place and he was on the court, right? So it happened in a blue-white game, unfortunately, because he was playing defense, and now his shoulder is messed up until it's probably fixed surgically because those don't heal. I've had shoulder surgery. Yeah. It's awful. Worst thing ever.
Yeah, I've had two.
Remember, it's trash.
From the very similar injury. So yeah, like I said, I lean more to what you're saying. If I was in that position, I think that's how I would react too, especially with these dudes getting paid. Talking to them probably ain't going to get the message across. We're going to sit there and, maybe there's a better way. Maybe there isn't. But T, what are your thoughts?
You could just make them run the whole practice. On the line.
Yeah, I'm with Selena. Like he hurt his shoulder boxing somebody out. I don't know that's this was a hard practice, therefore I got injured type thing. That just seems kind of like a freak. Like it was just bound to happen type thing. Yeah. How did Lamont Butler hurt his shoulder last year?
He hurt it in the game first.
Yeah, in game.
He
got tied up
awkwardly, like behind him or something. Like it got like squished and it popped out that way. And then from there, he just kept injuring it in the games. It was every time he played in the game, he got hurt again.
Yeah, because like that thing Rando posted today, like once it's loose, then the percentage and the likelihood of it re-injuring skyrockets to like 90 something. I guess, unless don't do anything with it for, until it heals. So, so short answer to your question is just no. I don't think it's because it was he had hard practices or anything like that. And I also agree that you need him, particularly playing in the SEC, because these fellas get after it these days. So you gotta be, your body's got to be tuned and at least somewhat ready for that. Because otherwise, you're gonna get hurt. You get like game one in the SEC when they're crashing and beating you up for real. So I think the staff at all these schools, but particularly Kentucky, knows how they run a hard physical practice without like endangering their boys, right? Because the coaches need them healthy too, right? And so the coaches, I don't think, are just going to be loose and wild with it and be like, whatever happens, man, go out there on the floor, reckless abandon. Like, I think they probably try to control it, go hard, but in this controlled environment, because their lives are on the line too. And if these guys can't go out there and play and perform, that doesn't help the coaches either. So I think they have enough know-how to have a physical practice without like endangering the guy's health. And sometimes in sports, people just get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Like I said, it's just a fine line between, getting to that reckless piece. Hammer, you seem like a guy that would agree that practice should be soft. We should baby these kids.
Hell no.
Beat them all.
You play how you practice. So if you practice soft, you're
I was
going
to say that.
So I used to coach junior pro ball, and I had more of the Bobby Knight and the Herb Brooks approach. Like, I would run them to death. And reason being was when everybody else has been over grabbing their shorts, sucking wind,
we're not tired.
We're not tired. Yeah. We still got legs, right? And some of that's growing pains, like, because some of these guys, they may not have come from, whether it's high school as a recruit in or a transfer, they may not have had tough practice before. But in this league, I mean, Selena said it, this league, it's physical, and you've got to practice. There's going to be banging. There's going to be, guys getting nicked up, whatever. That's just part of it. But surely with him already having an injury, the medical staff looked at him, right? I mean, I don't think they just arbitrarily just ran him out on the practice floor without at least talking to him. Hey, how you feeling? How's the shoulder? Maybe the trainer looks at it, does some range of motion stuff.
He has that brace on too, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I don't feel like they were reckless in the sense of putting him out there. He probably said, "Yeah, I'm good to go." Trainer signed off on it, and it just happened, right? So no, I don't. I mean, either you can play or you can't. And if you can, then you play. If you can't play, then you sit out. Or if it's a risk of, he's hurt and he's injured, it can get worse if he does this. Then that's where decisions made. Otherwise, I mean, it's just a tough break, man. And I hate it. I hate to see anybody get injured, especially with something like that can linger. So yeah, really, it sucks, and I hope he heals up and can come back and play, maybe after we play. But it's just one of those things, man. There's no way I turn it down because somebody got hurt in practice.
Yeah, I mean, you can't coach scared.
No, can't coach scared, can't play scared.
So to your point, to say you practice how you want to play, I would say, judging by what we saw on the court, they've been practicing soft as it is. And that's why the practice got turned up, because they weren't going hard enough in practice.
That's valid. I mean,
I remember the times when our practice got easier before games, and then we would play like crap in a game, and the next practice would suck. And the next game we'd play much better.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to do that practice again.
Yeah.
I mean, we ran sprints one time for 2 hours because we sucked so bad one game.
Yep.
Next game, we played our butts off. So I would say to that point, yeah, practice must have been pretty soft recently, or at least easier leading up to the game and stuff versus how they should have been.
Yeah, and but I also think there's a difference between that too. We're spending the whole time running on making, we're going until first kid pukes, and then we're going to keep going. And you see some of these guys, old school, bringing out like football hit pads out there, and guy goes up to a layup and he's just getting dropped. Right? He's like, "You want to come in soft in the lane? Let's." So again, I agree with all three of you. You got to practice tough. We're getting closer and closer to pro ball, though, unfortunately, at the college level, right?
Yep.
So there is a thing. There's going to be players. There are players that are going to be looking at their coach and say, "I make just as much as you or more with my NIL deals. All right, you ain't telling me what to do." So you got to figure out how to communicate with them that way too, which is maybe I'm going to make your life miserable while you're out here on my practice floor. Like, I own you when you're out here, and you do what you do on the other end of it. But with that being said, though, there are donors who are making multi-million-dollar investments, and you got to find a way to keep them healthy. So got to walk that fine line, and injuries are going to happen. 100% agree with all three of you. Said it's probably just an unlucky thing. But there's also maybe the thought of, yes, even though J-Lo said he's healthy, if I'm going to have this tough physical practice to wake some folks up, like Selena said, the effort or lack thereof wasn't pointed to Jaland Lowe. So if he's got to sit out and be, hey, trainers, he's not okay, wink, wink, he's going to go back in the room and you're going to work on him while I beat the hell out of everybody else, you got to be able to make that decision too, right? So like I said a couple times, fine line between what's right and what's wrong. Actually, I shouldn't even say what's wrong. Fine line between like what's right and what's less correct, so like, be able to figure that out. But it does suck that I think there's the large probability that we saw the last of Jaland Lowe in a Kentucky uniform. This very much could be not the same injury, but similar to the Kirk Risa of last year, where we saw some sparks from a kid we were really excited about, and then an injury takes him out for the season. But we shall see. Like Juice said, as he's trolling Kentucky fans, he did say something legit in there, and prayers out to him because, the dude came here to play ball. He didn't come here to collect his paycheck. I believe J-Lo came here to play ball and win games and do something special, and he's not going to be able to do that, at least in the near future. But yeah, I'm not
going to come to conclusions about his future. Like, I mean, I get people like, oh, he's probably out rest of the year or whatever, but I'm not going to jump to those conclusions until we have something definite.
Yeah, I'm
not going to borrow trouble.
No, I'm just saying, similar to you, speaking from experience, I'm not a D1 point guard, but at one point I was athletic, right? I did sports. So, my ability to play at a certain level was because of a shoulder injury that I didn't fix. And it dislocated like 3 times in one season, to the point where I had to have surgery because they had to put me under to pop the thing back in, because the doctor could not get it. It was so jacked up. I had to have surgery. I missed a whole year of football. And next thing you know, school I wanted to go to said, you are no longer welcome. So I understand that really, really sucks. And especially in a game where, he's got to be able to, you just said SEC play is physical. He's going to be beat around. We saw Lamont Butler have a couple games consistently where he was perfectly fine, and then one weird bump. The game against Tennessee where he got dropped. He just went to steal. It didn't look like that big of a deal. It just was a weird angle, and next thing you know, he's out. So I agree. Let's not jump to conclusions. I don't know how you can go from what he had to then full dislocation to not have really jacked something up to where you're out for an extended period of time. But it is really just a pain tolerance thing. Maybe he's just a tough SOB and can't figure it out. Let's hope that's true. But I was going to say, finish this thing out. We got one game, and then we got MSU. Michigan State's our next test, Selena. And I think we're going to know a lot about this team from how they respond to Louisville, right? We're going to know very quickly. Again, win or lose. I'm not saying, similar to how you guys felt about Houston. Let's just answer some questions, right? We are going to overreact if we lose. it's like you just have to. BBN has to just understand that we are going to be. I hate. Oh my goodness, I hate the hashtag cooked. Like, oh, we're so cooked. Blah blah blah. It just drives me absolutely insane. After one half or one game or whatever.
I hate the fire Pope conversations already.
It's got to stop. The other thing that drives me nuts is this cope word that I keep seeing all over Twitter. It drives me insane. Insane.
So what's your synonym for it then?
Cope?
Yeah. What word would you rather people use?
I don't particularly. I don't see, and then here we go. We choose out here that. I don't think there needs to be another word. It's just like I can put feelings out on Twitter and say like, hey, again, like I said before, two things can be true without somebody, cope harder, dumbass. So, it's like, shut up.
Well, Well, yeah, with you, but if you don't think that there are Kentucky fans out there like making excuses and justifying, that's what the coping is. Like being frustrated is one thing and saying we didn't play hard enough and all that. But then when people get out there and like, oh, hang the banner, you beat us for the first time in 18 years, or oh, we played our worst game we'll play all season, you played your best, blah. That kind of stuff is coping. So
I think the latter is coping. The first thing you said is just accurate. I said the latter is coping. Like, hey, they play their best game. The fact that they finally beat us for the first time in forever is true. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But y'all are just justifying, like, you're trying to excuse why Louisville feels good about it and, like, justify why it's really not that big of a deal. It's the same as when Tennessee won last year. What does Kentucky always do? Oh, 0 Final Fours, because that is a way to feel better about that you just got beat by this team. And that is coping.
Yes. So
what is the synonym? If you got beef with the word cope, that's fine. Give me a different one and I'll use it.
I'm going to hate them all. That's bottom line. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's Michigan State's going to be a big test for us. And we'll see how we respond. Let's hope Pope can figure out a way to keep crushing top 15 teams, and Louisville was just a blip in the radar. But kind of a lame football weekend for our fan base. Is some good games this weekend as a whole, but between us, it's Tennessee Tech and New Mexico State should be two easy W's as you guys roll into the game y'all really want. Which is Florida, and go ahead and give Kentucky football a shout out for smacking that tail last Saturday.
Yeah, well done, Cats. Good job.
Is Mark Stoops the best coach in the SEC at the moment?
Absolutely.
He might be.
Yes, bring him back. Absolutely.
Oh, he's already solidified that. He's 100% coming back now with those two wins. Now all he has to do is the trifecta and beat Louisville on the road. And he has Stoops. Stoops has the ability to do the funniest thing, which is have his job called for all season. Everybody praising Pope and this team they put together to go hang Banner 9. Pope loses to Louisville. Everybody's pissed off. Stoops flips the script and goes beats Louisville in Louisville. and we're back to building the statue.
Yep, there it is.
Mark Stoops. That'll be my hashtag.
Hey, and if he beats
even Coach Evans will be on his side.
Yep.
No, Coach Evans been out on him for a long time.
We know. What Coach Evans? What's he got to do for you to be on his side? He's got to have an undefeated season at this.
And he went 10-2, and now and Coach Evans like that was a down year for the SEC. They played crap teams.
That's right. Yeah, look, he ain't having it.
Yeah,
he ain't having
that's right, Juice.
One bit. Hey, I mean, I will eat a lot of my words. I still have to eat a lot of my words to be quite frank. I don't know that he's the best thing for Kentucky football in the long run, but a couple episodes ago, I think Hammer team. One of you guys asked, does he still have control of the locker room? Like, did you have the boys quit on him? And I said, you don't see that on the field. And now after a couple of wins, winning cures all. So who knows if it's legit? There's been a lot of players coming out, to include Cutter Boley, which is like, hey, these W's are for Stoops. Like the whole fire Stoops, him being on the hot seat, that we felt a certain way about that. We took that on ourselves, and we're playing for this guy like we love Stoops. And I don't know, you have to come out there as a player and bash him, but silence says a lot. And for these dudes who don't have to say anything like that, of like, hey, we're playing to get W's, we're playing for the school, we're playing for ourselves, yada yada, to come out and single out media and fans and say, y'all been calling for our coach's head, we don't appreciate it, and that's why we're trying to elevate our game to get some wins. That says a lot, and I appreciate it. And it's got me saying, hey, if he can go beat Vandy and he can beat Louisville, or even if he just gets one of the two, on top of the money we owe him, I think he deserves to come back. And again, I don't know if that's the best thing for Kentucky football, but how do you fire him after coming back with the winning season, with everything against you? Your quarterback you selected sucked. There's got to be some changes in talent management and talent evaluation, and maybe offensive coordinator and all those things. But I don't know. I know Tennessee fans want him back because you have your way with Stoops every single year. But as a Kentucky fan, if you're thinking about it not emotionally, how do you say fire him after he has flipped the season and could actually put together 7 or 8 wins this year? Like, legit could happen. 8 wins, including a bowl game.
My only thing with Stoops is if he comes back, do not recruit over Cutter.
No, you do whatever you need to do to keep
have
him.
to,
Yeah,
you
100%.
have to develop him and keep
100%.
him as a QB.
Yeah, 100%.
But he's a problem of recruiting over QBs like this. So he needs to not do that this year.
No, I think if you do that this year, you 100% lose Cutter Boley, and then it doesn't matter how you finish the season. Kentucky fans are going to be super pissed. Yes, they're going to go into the season not happy at all. But hey, whatever. What we going to do? It is Kentucky football. Your tweet, your response today was, even as a Kentucky football fan, I giggled at that one. That was a good one.
And again, like, I don't care that he talks football and is a Kentucky fan, but that's just the dumbest thing to say. That Hammer, I don't think you saw it, but their boy said that because I'm a Tennessee fan, I can't talk basketball. And I was like, this is coming from a Kentucky fan who talks football. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's right.
So get out of here. Now, talk whatever you want. That was just a hypocritical incident. So, like, who I root for has nothing to do with my knowledge of the game. But yeah, he chose not to respond to me after that. I think he realized he was about to bark up the wrong tree coming at me like that. That was dumb.
I'm surprised he didn't yell, "No Final Fours."
Yeah, right.
No, you weren't talking to Emmett. That's would have been Emmett's response.
Yeah, that's Emmett. Yeah, where's it? It's but because Kentucky lost. I was gonna say it's basketball season, so Emmett should be here. But
what it is we get him sometimes on Saturdays because we do it earlier. Emmett, his tail is in bed already for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he ain't making it 1 second past 9 o'clock. I guarantee it.
That's fair. That's fair.
He's either in bed or passed out. One of the two.
Juice. I'm trying to argue with people. That's what Twitter's for. I'm trying to argue with folks on there like that. But I don't get all in that. You're stupid and all that. Like, I'm trying to get at stuff that's actually analysis and makes sense. But yeah, I had to tell y'all's boy to just hush with the foolery.
Now, 2 things you can't get out of Twitter is sympathy. People post things like, asking for you're just going to get trolled. Like, no one cares about what you're going. Like, there are certain things, that I think will gain traction, especially kids and people praying for whatever, like, appreciate that. We'll take care of you. The Kentucky strong stuff when the tornadoes came through, the flooding that happened. But like, I feel bad for myself, so I'll put some stuff out there on Twitter. You just asking for it. You just asking to get and civilized conversations and argument back and forth. It ain't happening. Nope. It's not.
It's hard. It's hard to do. Juice, I can give you the hair advice. is don't have kids and be on Marine Corps recruiting at the same time. That's when all this went out. That's when all this went out the window.
But you got it on here now, and that looks great right there.
That's right. I had to compensate, so we're good.
All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate you coming on here. Another good one, as always. We'll see what Kentucky basketball has in store for Michigan State here next week after a game coming up this weekend. But Cats fans, just chill. We're gonna be okay. J-Lo injury sucks. Have faith in Pope and Zell. I know it'll all work itself out. And looking forward to Tennessee actually playing some high-level talent and what they look like, so we can prepare for SEC play. And then next weekend we get back into the real thing, playing some true SEC football, closing out the season as we get close to the college football playoff. But Selena, enjoy tomorrow. I know you get Fridays off. I always get jealous of you there. But Hammer, appreciate you as always. Send me your bets. I need to make some money. I lost it on Kentucky last week. So if you can print me some money, I'd appreciate it. And T, as always, brother, love you, man. Go Cats.
Love you, dog. Go Big Orange.
Go Cats.
Go Vols.
Selena's still saying.